Good evening to all the members of this August gathering. It is indeed an honor and privilege to welcome Dr. Mohit Dayal Gupta for today's session on emotional balance in current times. Welcome you, sir, for this session today. I'm honored to have been given the solemn responsibility of walking you through the enchanting and gratifying journey that Manarashna has trudged so far. Manarashna carries forward the mental of excellence and professionalism with the philosophy of Manarashna Vidyantriksha, where knowledge is the foundation of the space that we thrive in. The far-sighted vision of our beloved founder, Dr. O.P. Bhalla, has borne rich dividends for Manarashna educational institutions in its 3 decades of glorious journey. Our founder, Dr. O.P. Bhalla, an eminent educationist and philanthropist, instilled in every person of Manarashna family a dedication and commitment to train and equip the students with latest knowledge and skills in the chosen field while keeping in mind the Indian ethos and values. And his rich legacy has been carried forward further by his 2 sons and our young and dynamic leaders, Dr. Prashant Bhalla and Dr. Amit Bhalla ji. Our motto at Manarashna family is creating better human beings. So today, Manarashna Educational Institution comprises of 3 higher educational institutions: Manarashna International Institute of Research and Studies, Manarashna Dental College that comes under the ambit of Manarashna International Institute of Research and Studies, Manarashna University, and chains of 12 schools across the country. Talking about Manarashna University, we started this university in 2015. Earlier, it was Manarashna College of Engineering. And Manarashna University, in a short span of 6 years, has been awarded with QS iGauge Gold rating, is among the top 3 emerging engineering institutions as per Times Engineering Survey 2019. University has been recognized as valuable Swayam NPTEL local chapter with rating of A, and has been awarded 4-star rating for the innovation cell in the Northwest region by Ministry of HRD AICT for the year 1819. Recently, university received E-Lead certification by QS iGauge for offering online education and its readiness for the same. Manarashna Center for Peace and Sustainability, under the umbrella of which this webinar has been organized, is an earnest initiative of Manarashna fraternity to propel the energy and resources towards a greater universal good with academic and research activities in its agenda. Center aims to bring peace and sustainability to humanity by providing a platform whereby social, economic, and environmental issues can be discussed, dealt, and together small and impactful changes in our surroundings and to ourselves can be made to make a difference and contribute to the better. The center, in its very short span of time, commendable activities like national seminar on alternative politics, peace and sustainability, series of webinars in the last 1 month by our stalwarts like Dr. Karan Singh, Dr. Rajendra Shende, and recent one by Dr. Muzaffar Ahmed, has been set on its path of global initiatives of eliminating stress and syncing the human consciousness with cosmic consciousness. And today, we are welcoming you for this next session in this webinar series on emotional balance in the current times. So it is indeed an honor and privilege for me to welcome Dr. Mohit Dayal Gupta for today's session. Let me have the honor of introducing you to the audience. Dr. Mohit Dayal Gupta, he is a professor of cardiology and medical superintendent of cardiac science at G.B. Pant Hospital, New Delhi. Secretary of Delhi Branch of Cardiology Society of India and Chairman of Delhi Intervention Council, recipient of Vishan Swaroop Young Scientist of the Year Award 2018 by Honorable Vice President of India for his excellent research in genetic and excellence in cardiology 2018. This award was given to him by Honorable Ministry of Health and Family Welfare, Mr. J.P. Nadda. Thank you, sir, for accepting our invitation from Manarashna Educational Institutions. Talking further about his credential, Dr. Mohit Dayal Gupta did his post-graduation and super specialization from Maulana Azad Medical College and associated with Nayak Hospital and G.B. Pant Hospital. Dr. Gupta has a distinct achievement of getting more than 18 gold medals and 5 silver medals In his medical career, Dr. Gupta has been nominated as a Fellow of American College of Cardiology and Society of Coronary Angiography and Interventions and Asia Pacific Society of Intervention Cardiology and American College of Cardiology and Cardiology Society of India. He has recently been elected as Fellow of European Society of Cardiology. Dr. Gupta has been associated with Brahmkumari's World Spiritual University from his childhood, that is more than 33 years. And he practices Raj Yoga meditation daily. He has blended scientific evidence of spirituality in his lectures. He believes that practicing Raj Yoga meditation helps one in having a holistic approach to any diseases. So I welcome you, sir, to this session, and I would request Dr. Deepa to please introduce the today's session to our participants and guests. Thank you, sir. Over to Deepa, ma'am, please.
Thank you, respected Sangeeta ma'am. A very good evening to one and all connected with the session on emotional balance in current times. It is indeed an honor to be present on this platform and have an opportunity to set a background for the topic, which is the need of the hour. So, as a student of mathematics, I can visualize today's topic as three sides of a triangle, namely emotions, balance, and the present situation, and the need to be addressed and adjusted in a way so that an equilateral triangle forms. So, according to the famous book Discovering Psychology by Don Hockenberry, an emotion is a complex psychological state that involves three distinct components: a subjective experience, a physiological response, and a behavioral response. There are basic six emotions that are universal throughout human cultures, be it fear, disgust, anger, surprise, happiness, and sadness, while others are a mix of these. So, if we closely analyze our every thought, word, and action is nothing but a mirror of our emotion, and thus it becomes imperative to keep them in tune always. Why so? Because every soul aspires for the same. So harmony in emotions so harmony in emotion, or I say the balance, is the underlying that is required for our emotions. It is a feeling of contentment and calmness that prevails in minds once the chaos and confusion are defeated. And now, looking at the current situation, ever since the imposition of the countrywide lockdown, financial hardship, risk of unemployment, and above all, the fear of contracting the disease are all affecting the balance of a collective mental well being. So, what is required? The scale of negativity is increasing so high and having devastating impacts on the physical and mental health of the individuals and the community as a whole. So, while social distancing and washing hands are effective means to fight this contagious disease, a weapon is required to overcome the emotional turmoil. Because when things change inside me, then only things change around me. So, with these words, I would humbly like to submit my application to the spiritual doctor present here to provide us with a prescription for the same. Now, I would like Professor Dr. Sanjay Srivastava, Vice Chancellor, MRIIRS and MREI, to give his opening remarks. Professor Srivastava is an expert in organizational behavior in his distinguished career of over 2 decades. He has made a mark as an institution builder, an acclaimed teacher, a prolific speaker, an avid researcher, a consultant, and an organizational coach. Professor Srivastava has worked with Haryana Institute of Public Administration for several years and was responsible for conducting programs for the civil servants as well as Department of Personnel and Training, Government of India at various academies. Prior to joining Manav Rachna family, Sir was associated with Amity University. He played a key role in setting up and running Amity campuses in 17 different locations of the country and abroad. Professor Srivastava has been awarded the Honorary International Research Fellow, Lewis, Finland. This rare honours was bestowed upon him by Honorable Prime Minister of Finland in February 2016. Sir, may I request you please?
First and foremost, a very warm good evening to all the present persons here. Esteemed guest of the evening, Dr. Mohit Gupta ji, you are a spiritual doctor, as Deepa ji has rightly said. Our respected torchbearer of the university, both the universities, Professor Dr. I.K. Bhatt Sahab, our Dean Academics, Professor Dr. Sangeeta Banga ji, one of our visible hosts, Dr. Deepa Arora, and invisible host, Dr. Geeta Thakur, and all the colleagues who have joined us for this webinar. As a matter of fact, Mohitji, cardiology and heart surgery is very close to my heart because on personal front, we have a family hospital in Lucknow headed by my sister and brother-in-law called Divine Heart Hospital, and he was also part of Sanjay Gandhi PGI Lucknow. So this is very, very close to my heart, and what Deepa ji just talked about you, Sangeeta ji talked about you, especially Sangeeta ma'am in your introduction, that most of the cardiac surgeons and cardiologists, they follow spirituality. My brother-in-law used to say that whenever I go to theater and I do a bypass, every day while doing the surgery, I meet with God himself. So spirituality, I think, is deep rooted in most of you. Coming back to the topic, I must humbly admit that I was also Daniel Goleman's India partner from year 2003 to year 2006. So majority of the Indian researches on emotional intelligence, you will find my researches also. While talking to my colleagues yesterday in our Center for Advanced Leadership, we have an academy headed by Dr. Bhatt. He is the patron of the academy, and we had a workshop on communication, and my opening remark was that across the globe, we have two schools. One is known to everybody and another is unknown. The known school was established by great Aristotle, and this is known as School of Logic. In the School of Logic, we are taught communication. So from the day one of our life to the last day, communication takes the primary seat in our life. Because of communication and language, we talk to the whole world, but because of the language, because of communication, we hardly talk to ourselves. So on the other hand, of a school of logic, there is a school of mystery. And the tool of a school of mystery is emotions. And being a behaviorist, being a student of human behavior, there is no formal training given to us about emotions. Deepaji talked about 6 emotions. Ma'am, let me add little to your learning that there are 8 primary emotions which we are given with. And if you talk to majority of people, what are those 8 primary emotions? And what are the intensity of emotions when we say first degree, second degree, and third degree? For example, if I say that apprehension is the first degree, fear is the second degree, and terror is the third degree. With this example, I wish to demonstrate that most of us are not trained how to handle our emotions. Also, I wish to present before you for next 2-3 minutes, Mohitji, especially about our work, that the word motivation has come from the Latin word, which stands with the word motere, M-O-T-E-R-E, which means to move, with a prefix E, which means move away. And when I say move away, it is a bidirectional word. In which direction, positive or negative? It is not known. Those who are spiritually inclined, those who know the right path, those who have certain set of values and sanskar, they follow the positive side of the story. And those who do not follow the path of spirituality and sanskaras, they go to the negative side of it, and the extreme of it is terror. Talking to you about a paradigm shift, especially in the work life, that till some time back, I would say that early 90s, it was considered as a sign of weakness. And Gradually, credit goes to Professor Daniel Goleman and his entire team that people have started seeing this as a positive side, this as seen as sign of strength. And what we have identified that there are four stories. I am talking to you a little mathematically or scientifically that these four stories, and I will be talking to you about only one story which has four ladders. Each story has four ladders, and the first story we have identified is known as emotional literacy. And researchers say that majority of the people across the globe are emotionally not literate, not trained. And the four ladders we talked about, one is those who are emotionally literate, you will find a natural honesty in them. You will find the second ladder is they always have lots of energy. You see our Bhatt Sahab is bubbling with lots of energy, though he often refers to age, but look at his energy, vibrance on his face. It talks about the second step of the first story. The third is feedback, the kind of feedback you get from the people who are around you. And last step is emotional connection and intuition. Those set of people who get intuitive energy and they tell you what is right, what is not right. So I talked to you briefly about the first story. The second story talks about after literacy is fitness. Those who are literate, they talk about fitness. I am not talking on this because Mohitji is here, Bhatt Sahib is here, so I was tempted to talk about my own research. And then the third story talks about emotional depth. So those who reach to second story, they reach to the third one called depth, and the ultimate story on emotional front is emotional alchemy. Very few people across the globe, even less than 0.001 of population, they reach to the last story at the last ladder of emotional alchemy. This is extremely important, and especially in the business scenario, I will conclude with this saying that you can buy people's time, you can buy their physical presence at a given place, you can even buy a measured number of muscular motion per hour, but you cannot buy their enthusiasm. You cannot buy their loyalty. You cannot buy devotion of their heart. This you must earn. This is a very topical seminar, and Dr. Mohitji, we expect that in next 50 minutes or so, you are going to enrich us with a lot many things on professional and personal front, both on behalf of our Honorable Chancellor, Vice President, and entire Manavachna community. A very hearty welcome to you for this webinar. Looking forward for your value addition in our life. Thank you, and over to Sangeeta ma'am.
Thank you, sir, for such an enlightening opening remarks. And you have said a lot. And I hope that Dr. Mohit Gupta will be able to do justice, and he'll be able to share with us many more things, and he'll take this lecture further with what you have set the tone for. Thank you, sir. Mohit Gupta, sir, please, over to you. We are waiting for your session. Please,
Yeah.
sir.
Thank you so much. Are you able to see my screen?
Yes, we can see that, Mohitji.
Thank you so much. Okay, very good evening to all of you. And thank you so much, everyone, the whole faculty, and for those wonderful, kind words of introduction. And especially so nice introduction about emotion and emotional power, especially the four ladders. That was very heartening to listen to you. So right at the outset, I must say one thing very clearly to you, that I'm not here to motivate you. In fact, I've heard this thing so many times, but I've learned to live in my life that nobody can motivate us. We can only get inspired by other people. The only person who is responsible for motivating us is our own selves. So in this beautiful journey, which we are going to do for next almost 45-50 minutes. Let us inspire ourselves. Let us get inspired to take control of our own selves. I'll share a beautiful story before I take you through all this nice journey. And this goes almost hundreds of years back. And this was ancient times in India only, when those pandemics used to strike any particular place or a country. So whenever they used to enter a village, the saints of that village, they would just go out of the village and stop the pandemic. And they would ask that, tell us, who is coming along with you and how many people are you going to take along with you? So the pandemic would say that, I'm coming along with two people more. The saints would say that, who are the two other accompaniments that you are bringing along with you? So the pandemic would say that I'm bringing death along with me, and I'm also bringing fear along with me. So the saints would say, no, we won't allow you to enter our city. But pandemic says, no, it is mandatory for me to enter your city. And the saints would say that, tell us first that how many people you are going to take away from our village. So pandemic would say that I would take only 1 to 2% of your villagers. Death says I would take only 0.1% of your villagers. And then fear would say I won't take anybody along with me. And then they would allow the pandemic to enter. And after 1 month of all those turmoil and everything which has been created, it would start moving out of the village. And when they observed that almost 1% of the people have lost their lives or are affected by the pandemic, 0.1% have lost their lives. But the biggest line was behind the fear. And they would just go to the fear and ask that you were not supposed to take anybody from this village. And fear would reply, you see, I'm not taking anybody along with me. They are themselves coming along with me. And that is what is happening today. While we all are busy managing one pandemic, there is another pandemic that we all are dealing with today. And that is the emotional pandemic. That is the mental pandemic that we all are suffering somewhere, somehow in our lives. And there is a reason for it. The reason is because when nothing is sure, everything is possible. When we are today surrounded by uncertainty, not just because of this pandemic, but because of our own life, then we have all the opportunities and possibilities which are vacant, which are there. We can choose positive sides also, we can choose negative sides also. And it depends upon us. It's all about the balance that we are able to create. It's all about what kind of emotions that we hold on to our minds and what kind of emotions do we let go of. That is what determines the quality of our life. So in today's journey, what I'm going to make you run through is what actually are emotions, how do we actually understand this. The second thing is, what is the basic science behind our emotional reactions. You will be flabbergasted by hearing this, that how simple it is and how scientifically we are behaving in our life. Who has to transform? If we have to bring a change, then who is going to bring that change in our life? The fourth thing that we are going to discuss is the simple techniques that we are going to practice. We are not going to have a 10 or 15 point agenda, no, not at all. But we are going to discuss something with which we can easily connect, something that we can really see and experience in our life. And the fifth one is that we'll have a taste of meditation in today's session. As we start, I would just request a couple of our panelists to unmute, because I would be asking a couple of very simple questions to reflect, and your answers would be actually reflections of all the participants and all our friends who are there today on this journey. You all have heard this, a very common saying. For decades and decades, this is going on. And this says, life is 10% what is happening to us and 90% of how we are reacting to it. Have you heard this or not? Yes or no? Tell me. Yes?
Yes.
Isn't it? Yes, you
Sir.
have heard
Yes,
about this.
yes, yes.
Yes.
Now there is a problem with it. There is a very serious problem with it. The problem lies with the word reaction. Whenever we choose to react in our lives, our output, our behavior is instantaneous. It is often a burst. It is often a mix of emotions. it is quite often unbalanced. It becomes judgmental, and sometimes it is negative also. That's the problem. When we choose to react in our lives, let us understand, let us analyze this with the situation. This is a common situation that we all face in a typical Delhi, Gurgaon, or a Ghaziabad or a Faridabad traffic, or maybe wherever you are placed. This is the kind of situation that we face. Now, I put a hypothetical situation in front of you. All 200 of us are moving from point A to point B for an important meeting. We all are traveling in our car. Now listen very carefully. We all are traveling in a car, starting from your institute, going to another institute to attend a very important meeting. And suddenly we find ourselves stuck up in this kind of a traffic jam. Now my question to you is, how beautifully and how difficult is our behavior and behavioral reactions are at that time? Science says 90 to 95% of the people, when they're stuck up in this kind of a traffic jam, they would have a graded behavior. They would get anxious, they would get restless, they would start honking their car. Sometimes they would start shouting on each other. Some of them, you see, they come out of their car, they move ahead, they even fight with each other. And sometimes they take disastrous steps also. This is the kind of behaviors and emotional reactions that many of us in different grades we generate. But a small population, a small percentage of 200 of us, just imagine, we are focusing only on few of us, a small percentage of us choose to remain absolutely calm. We are not affected by the traffic jam at all. We are sitting in our car comfortably, we are enjoying, we start listening to the music, we tell the person where we are supposed to reach in the meeting that unfortunately I'm stuck up in a traffic jam, I'll connect you through some platform and it will take some time for me to reach. But they don't let their mind go out of control. So my question to you, and any one of you can choose to answer, is that situation for each one of us, 200 of us, is same, and the situation is traffic jam. Let me ask you, if 200 of us are stuck up in the traffic jam, do we generate the same emotional reaction, or do we generate a different emotional reaction, each one of us? Tell me, please. Anyone?
A different reaction.
A different reaction. That's it. That is definitely right. Each one of us choose to generate an absolute different reaction. And that means when the situation is same, 200 of us are in the same situation, in the same cars, same traffic jam, same place, same journey, but we generate a different reaction. That shows that situation is not responsible for our emotional reaction, but our own mindset. Our own mind is responsible for the way we are generating that emotional reaction in that situation. And here we go. Look at this. What is happening to the 90% of the people today? 90% of the people today, this is the problem that we have. See, most of us are getting working on an autopilot mode. The moment stimulus.
Hello.
Can I continue?
Sure, sir.
Please
Please
continue.
continue.
Please continue. Please continue.
So most of us are working on an autopilot mode. We get a stimulus and we react. We get a stimulus, we react. We get a stimulus, we generate an emotional reaction, and that is 95% of our population. Now look at the 5% of us. 5% of us replacing impulsive reactions with thoughtful responses. Being mindful requires only one thing, and that one thing is that pause. The stimulus is same, the reaction changes into response once we have this pause in our mind. And that is what is the difference that each one of us has to create in our own life. This pause, जिसको हम लोग कहते हैं सोच कर समझ कर respond करना, that means thinking, understanding and then responding to a situation is what is the key and what is the basic of what is generating a emotional common behavior. Here we are right here in the center. Look at this. This is we. Throughout our day, we are getting influenced by our family, our relations. We are influenced by our professional reactions. These are stimulating us. They are affecting our own mindset. We are also affected by our social, what kind of reactions, what kind of life, what kind of things we are having. We are also affected by the nature and the policies. all these all these of us are simultaneously affecting our own psyche, and they are responsible we are they are responsible for generating our emotional responses. These situations are going to come. It could be from any person every day. Our relations, our mother, our father, our husband, our wife, everywhere. In our professional level, we also face challenges, but all of these work together to affect our own psyche. So if we have to bring a change, we have to change our own mindset, and that is what happened today. 3 months back, it took only 3 months for this little invisible creature to bring 200 countries, 99% of the people, the best technologies to its feet. Only 3 months, while 95% of us are left struggling with our own mental health. Look at this data from BBC, 20th March. Now it is June. It is much higher now. At that time, almost 75% of the people were already facing mental health issues and emotional turbulence in their life. We are left only with four emotions today: fear, panic, worry, and uncertainty. This kind of a pandemic has left us devastated. This is a simple situation that we face. And now, once we are in the sea of emotional reactions, it is for us to decide that how we come out of it. Look at these things. If we get stressed easily in our life, if we keep on making assumptions quickly and we start defending our assumptions vehemently, if we keep on holding grudges and don't let go of them, if we often feel misunderstood and we practice blame and get offended easily, that shows that we are emotionally unstable today. We need to take care of our own mind. We need to take care of our own thought process. My dear friends, we must understand that once we are unable to manage our emotions, we keep on triggering the same emotions again and again, again and again. That is what gives us a personality, and that is why we say he's an angry person, he's an anxious person, he's a happy person, and I often get irritated. These kind of reactions are a consequence of repeated generation or repeated same emotional reactions that we produce in our life. It's a totally our choice. Nobody else is going to do it for us. It is absolutely our own choice. So when we talk about emotional calmness and stability, it's our ability to withstand difficult situations. It's our ability to withstand difficult situations, handle adversity, but yet remain productive and capable throughout. The situations would be there, the adversities would be there, but we are able to maintain our productivity and capability not by outward reactions, but by our own mindset. And this requires transformation. If we start changing situations, we start changing our professional life, we start changing our nature, we start influencing our government policies. That is one way, but there is another way to become emotionally stable. And that way is to transform the processor that is there in our brain, in our mind, that processes the information. You see, if we energize our profession, if we energize our own mindset, the whole information that goes into our brain will actually be transformed. This is the biggest problem that we have with most of the motivational lectures that we hear throughout our life. Listen to this very carefully. Most of us introspect ourselves. Most of us try to change the behaviors of people and our own behavior. Often we say to our children, to our students, try to behave properly, try to be emotionally stable, try to be happy, try to be behave in such a responsible way. My dear friends, we must understand it is impossible to change our own behavior and behavior of anybody in this world. The reason is because behavior is a function of our belief system. Until and unless we change and transform our beliefs, if I believe that something is right, I start behaving accordingly. If I don't believe that somebody is saying right, I may feign, I may hide my behavior, but I would not be able to show actually the way I want to behave. So we must today understand that in next slides, we are going to give a whole new belief system that will bring a complete emotional stability in our own life. The belief system should be rational. It should be evidence-based and it should be logical. So once we change our belief system, I start believing that this is the way things should be. My behavior automatically starts transforming. But if I don't change my behavior, I'm repeatedly burdened by the same negative things. So that is what we have to transform. Now, may I ask one of the panelists to just describe what you are able to see in this picture in one or two lines only. Whatever you are able to see in this picture. Maybe Sangeeta ji, Deepa ji, anybody, quickly, in only 10 seconds, what are you able to see in this picture? Quickly for all our participants.
The person is feeling so happy with what he has creating on the sand, which is not real.
Perfect. No, agreed. What are you able to see in this picture? Are you able to see a sea? Agreed? Yes?
Yeah, it is there.
Yeah.
But first,
You are able to see a person?
I saw a person who's very happy.
You are able to see a piano?
Yes.
You are able to see a lamp on the piano, right?
I can see a lamp over the
And
piano. C is at the
you're
back.
also, yeah, and you're also able to see that the person is trying to play a piano. Agreed? Right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Now look at this. Now tell me, what are you able to see in this picture? Everything same. In the earlier picture, the person was trying to play the piano,
Play.
apparently try to play the piano. Now here, what does it look like? The person is sitting on the piano. Agreed or not?
Yes, agreed.
Apparently agreed, sitting on the piano. The piano is same, the person is same, the dress is same, the sea is same, everything is same. But when we change the way we look at the picture, everything changes. So my first and the most important message, if we want to bring emotional stability, that the perspective is that changes everything. Look at the traffic jam. The same traffic jam, same 200 of us, but each one of us behaving differently because the way we are looking at the traffic jam is completely different. One person sees it as a big difficulty and loses control over himself or herself. But the other person just sees it like a routine challenge and is able to maintain his calmness and able to maintain his stability. So, my dear friends, emotional stability is a consequence of the perspective, the way we see the things. And that is why Dr. Wayne Dyer, a Nobel laureate, he said that when we change the way we look at things, the things we look at change. When we change the way we look at people, the people we look at change. When we change the way we look at situations, the situations we look at change. Everything dependent on our own mind. That's the first message that we should take. Situations are not going to be in our control. people may not behave according to our own way. What we have to understand to become emotionally stable is to inculcate and change the way we are seeing those situations. So that is why, while everybody saw the present times as a difficulty, many of the people saw this as an opportunity to introspect in their own lives, to transform their own lives, to take care of this time, utilize this time to enhance their skills and to contribute and make themselves mentally and spiritually and emotionally empowered. 90 to 95% of the people are today affected by the emotional pandemic, but there is another 5% of the people who are creating emotional stability, who are understanding and going in this beautiful journey by making them balanced, by making themselves power. I remember a story of a beautiful ship, a cruise ship, and an experienced captain. He used to steer thousands and thousands of people to their journeys comfortably. But in his penultimate journey, when we were steering a ship of more than 5,000 people, suddenly he saw a big storm was right there in front of him. And he was wondering, he knew that if he tried to steer a ship to the side of the storm was so powerful that it would throw away the ship and they would all get drowned. So he was wondering what should he do because the storm was so powerful. He kept quiet. He started thinking. Everybody was wondering that what is going captain going to do. It was all a matter of their life. And suddenly he started driving into the storm right there into the center. People were shouting, people were crying, what is he doing? We are all going to get killed. And he just kept quiet and asked everybody to be quiet. And he started driving right into the center of the storm, facing that turbulence. May I ask you to please keep yourself mute? Thank you so much. Yeah. So he started driving right into the center of the storm. And the moment he reached into the center of the storm, what he saw was absolute calmness and silence. When the storm settled, everybody was so happy, they resumed their journey. And people asked that, how did this idea click you? He said that, my dear friends, in the eye of the storm, you always remain in control. When situations and people are turbulent around us, the only thing that we can control is our own mind. We have to take control over own selves. Today, we are unable to make our own mind our best friend. And that is why most of us are repeatedly getting anxious, repeatedly getting uncertain, and having the feelings of fear and panic. My dear friends, science says that in a single day, each one of you is able to generate 50 to 70,000 thoughts. And out of those 50,000 thoughts that you generate in a single day, 90 to 95% of our thoughts are negative, waste, and repetitive thoughts. Only 5% of our thoughts, science clearly says, are positive, purposeful, and useful thoughts. Now imagine that out of 50,000 thoughts, 48,000 of our thoughts are negative or waste or repetitive or purposeless thoughts. That reveals the quality of our existence on earth. That shows that, would you call our mind a positive factory, or our mind like this living room which is stressful, which is chaotic, which is disorganized? We must understand that if we need to transform our emotions and lives, we have to make our mind our best friend. And there is a reason for that, because every thought that you generate gives you a feeling. जो विचार आप लाएंगे वो आपके जीवन में आपको एक फीलिंग देगा. Every thought will give you a choice. Choice will generate a behavior. Behavior will generate a feeling, and that feeling will generate an emotion. A negative thought, negative behavior, negative feelings, and negative emotions. When 95% of our thoughts are negative and waste thoughts, our behaviors 95 to 98% of the times will be negative and waste. Our feelings would be the same, and our emotional reactions would be the same. What kind of life would we be leading? It would again be the same kind of negative life. If we want to transform our life, if we want to create joy in our life, we have to transform our thoughts. A single positive thought will give you a positive choice, a positive behavior, a positive feeling, and a positive emotion. And that is what is called evolution. This is how we take control of our own mind. When we want to redesign our thoughts, we have to do it. Nobody else is going to do this for us. We can talk about emotional patterns, emotional behaviors, but if we want to transform our emotions, remember, change the way we look at things. Remember, I am the creator of my own thought. Every thought, look at the processor that you are using. That processor is streamlining, that is creating every single thought. And if you create every thought to be peaceful, pure, and powerful, what kind of life would you be having? You would be having a life which will transform from this living room to a very well organized room, the same room, but when it is organized. It is a consequence. Every thought that we create is creating our future. And that is why we must understand that positivity is the only way in our life. Choose positivity. Inculcate, fill your thoughts with a lot of love and pure and positive feelings, because positivity creates and changes outlook. It motivates us. It changes our own perception. It brings success. Optimism is the key. Optimism and positivity and success, they bring emotional stability in our lives. So if we want to have emotional stability, we have to choose the kind of thoughts that we are generating. We are the designers of our thought. We are designing every single thought in our mind. Nobody else has that power. If we choose pessimism, it leads to weakness. But if we are optimistic in our life, it leads to power. So if we want to create emotional stability, look at the different perspective of these situations. If we can't remember that same traffic jam, we can't change the traffic jam. If it is not going to change, let me take control of my own mind. Let me take this challenge and fill every thought of mine with a lot of power and positive, so that at least I am in guard in taking control of my same emotional reactions. It's about pausing. That pause button is very, very important. Why this is important? Because your thoughts are influencing your body. They are influencing your genes. I will sometimes make you understand someday that how powerfully every single thought that you are generating is also affecting your own genes. It is affecting your relations, your family and friends, the way we carry on with each other. And it is also having a powerful effect on the environment, on the nature, on the food and the water that we are having. Such is the power, and it's all about creating balance in our life. The third step, if we want to create emotional stability in our life, is look at what kind of emotional diet we are consuming every day, right from the morning till the evening. We are loaded with social media, print media, and digital media. We are loaded with messages of fear, messages of bad, messages of uncertainty, messages that make us panic. We are loaded with that information. You open the television, you open the newspaper, your WhatsApp, your Facebook, your Twitter, your social media, everywhere you see so much negativity, and we are ingesting that fear. We are continuously ingesting that fear. And not only do we ingest that fear, we also transform that fear. We also forward that fear to our friends and families. Let me show you this beautiful science. When our brain has two parts. One is the rational thinking brain, and one is the limbic, that is the emotional brain that controls our emotional behavior. Whenever we generate fear and uncertainty in our life, extreme negative emotions, what happens is our emotional center, the limbic system, that overtakes or takes control of our rational behavior, rational brain, and then we are we stop that rational thinking in our brain, and our fear is driving our car. Look at this. Amygdala, the most important part of our limbic system, it hijacks our brain when we allow toxic doses of fear and uncertainty. And then we are not driving our car, our fear is. Just imagine when a person is shouting and angry, what do we say? भाई इसकी सोचने और समझने की शक्ति खत्म हो गई है. When somebody is shouting, he is neither able to decide, neither able to think rationally, because the rational brain stops working in that particular condition. So I must tell you, very, very important for all of us. The fourth important thing is we must practice emotional detox in our life. Stop toxic consumption of negative emotions in our life. There is no doubt technology has made us wiser, faster, and smarter. We are all technologically advanced people. But let me ask each one of you, while we are loaded with technology, are we all much more happier people? Is happiness and peace a part of our lives? If the answer is no, the reason is because right from morning till evening, we are all supposed to be the masters of technology. Technology is controlling us. Look at this. Look at that uncomfortable feeling that we all start having the moment our phone is away from us. Look at that sense of disconnection that develops when we are unable to check our messages frequently. And that is why, my dear friends, this is having catastrophic effect on our mind, our emotional reactions, and our behavior. One of the commonest causes of emotional instability is our digital world. What we created, we were supposed to be the masters of this, but unfortunately, now digital is controlling our lives. So, if we want to be emotionally stable, I would simply suggest you a very simple 60-40-60 principle, a very simple principle. Do it for one day and your life will transform. The way you experience happiness, joy will transform. The 60-40-60 principle says that when you get up in the morning, for first 60 minutes of the day, avoid using any form of digital, print, or social media. Completely disconnect. You can read something nice, you can listen to a good music, but not use your social media or print media. Look at the day you start. The moment you get up, that sense of connection, that updating of your status, that passing a message, that looking at the messages that have come throughout the night, that is what takes away the joy of our morning. Disconnect in the morning for 60 minutes, meditate, read something nice, and you will see your brain will get charged and emotionally stable. 40 minutes in a day when you are sitting with your family, practice disconnecting with your digital world. Very, very important. Science says, which is called an iPhone effect, merely a presence of a smartphone within, when two people are conversing with each other, decreases the quality of conversion by 40% and makes them emotionally unstable. This is the harm. In our family, we are a family of four: my father, mother, and my sister. We always have our dinner together. No digital, no television, no mobile phone, nothing. We are talking to each other, we are connecting with each other, and that is where the emotional connect develops. Very, very important. 40 minutes, completely switch off all the appliances, and then 60 minutes, last 60 minutes of the day, when you are going to sleep, they should be absolutely e-free, completely. Look at the reflect on your yesterday night, continuously using the mobile 10 minutes, 15 minutes, or even till the last minute when you're going to sleep, it makes your mind tired. That is the time when your conscious mind and subconscious mind are in direct connection. And if we keep on giving those negative inputs to our mind, it will completely get devastated and make us emotionally unstable. So one of the most powerful tools to inculcate emotional stability is to practice digital detoxification. We need to create emotional balance. After the emotional diet, we need to have emotional balance. Our brain, our mind has a very beautiful power of projecting, of magnifying or minimizing anything. I'll share an example with you. Can I have any volunteer? If you can identify yourself, any one volunteer, please. Anyone, please identify. Yes. Any one of you,
Yeah, hello,
please.
sir. Tell me. Tell me,
Yeah,
sir.
this is, yeah. Now, on
Yeah.
behalf of all of you, let us imagine and create this situation and look at our own reactions and put ourselves into the same situation. Now, just imagine this. Is it Deepaji or is it, who's this?
Hello. Yes,
Uh,
I can see.
Geeta
Deepaji
ma'am.
has? Geeta ma'am.
Yes, sir.
Now, just imagine. You are sitting in your home at 5 p.m. in the evening. Imagine that. Somebody close to you is supposed to come back home by 5:30 and that person is now late. It's 6 p.m. You try their mobile phone. The mobile phone is ringing to be switched off or out of reach, and the person is not reached. What kind of thoughts come to your mind? Positive or negative? Tell me. Most of
Most
the
of the
times.
time negative. Most of the time
Negative.
negative thought
Okay.
comes.
Now listen. Now it is 6 to 6:30 or 6:45 or 7 p.m. You again try calling that person. The mobile phone says it's not reachable, switched off. You are given something to eat which you really love to. Your favorite television serial is coming on the television. Would you like to see that serial? Would you enjoy eating that meal? Yes or no?
Many times we try to console ourselves, but again, definitely, repeatedly, negative thought comes, and here now the intensity would increase.
Very nice. Look at this, what she says. The intensity would increase. Now it's 7:30. Again, the same situation. Is it possible that you start imagining and creating the worst possible situation in your mind? Possible or not possible?
Yes, possible. Even
Possible.
I think most of the people will try calling different other people as well,
Other people also.
informing,
That is very, very good. And
sharing
then
the
at
concern.
then that 8 p.m. suddenly, now you can mute yourself. Then at 8 p.m. suddenly the doorbell rings and the person is sitting right there, standing right there in front of you, and then whole period that comes out, stress that comes out as an anger in your life. And this is what is called emotional imbalance. Look at this. This is a habit that we all have created, which is called catastrophic thinking. We could have thought other way also, that oh, maybe the mobile phone got switched off because it got discharged, everything would be fine, nothing to worry. But naturally we are magnifying and projecting the situation to a very, very high in a negative level, and experiencing those negative emotions for 2 hours. She was experiencing those negative emotions for 2 hours without actually anything happening. This is what is called emotional imbalance. Mind has the capability to magnify the small image multifold. It's a value neutral. It could be positive or it could be negative. But remember, when we magnify, even like a mistake, the emotions associated with it are also magnified. They are blown out of proportion. And that is what is happening today. That when a situation is there, our continuously thinking, our continuously talking, our continuously forwarding those messages, reading about that, discussing about that, कितना number हुआ, क्या हुआ, कैसे होगा, how, what is the future, आपको क्या लगता है? That thinking, that magnifying thing is magnifying our negative emotions also, and we start ignoring the positive aspects of our own life. So remember, my dear friends, if we want to create emotional balance, it is very, very important for us to be avoiding catastrophic thinking. See the situations as they are. Our ability to handle the situation becomes much better, much more clear. And for this, there is a very, very beautiful tool to inculcate the sixth thing, which is called emotional stability. Avoiding that blame, continuously blaming self, people, and situations for our own reality. You know, there are two kind of approaches that we can have in our own life. One is, who is responsible, what is the problem, what is stopping you, and why did you do that? क्यों कर रहे हैं लोग, कैसा कर रहे हैं, why this is happening, why this particular. And the other one is the solution focused approach, that yes, irrespective of the problem, let us look in the opportunities, let us look what are the signs that are going to make us back on the right track, what are the situations and the signs which give us confidence and give us our capability that yes, we can bounce back on the same confidence. When we keep on blaming each other, when we keep on blame putting and practicing that blame brings with it another negative emotion, which is called guilt. Guilt and blame will go hand in hand, and the moment we inculcate guilt and blame, it is one of the most powerful negative emotions. The clarity of our mind is lost, the ability to see, look at this, the ability to see the reflection, the impact of any particular situation is gone, because our brain pushes us to overreact, and we are completely lost. We are not able to see the clear picture behind the situation. So these situations will keep on coming. Sometimes people might be unreasonable, but let us not blame our children. Let us not blame our people, our friends, our professional life for this. Let us embrace the reality and fact and face that particular situation in a very positive and a balanced manner. The seventh practice that each one of us must do to bring emotional stability in our lives is to create that emotional distance. Very powerful, very, very important for us. And very simple example that I'll give you to understand this emotional distance is right here. Now, I will take you all to a cricket field. Look at this. Look at this person who is batting, and he has been practically balled out. There is an appeal against him that he is out, and the person who is here, who is right here, the umpire who is standing here, he gives him out. But there is another third umpire who's sitting. When we are, our life is also like this cricket field. The person who are on the cricket field, the umpire on the cricket field, he's able to see that particular situation only from one angle. He cannot analyze that situation. He's able to see from that one angle, the other umpire is reflecting from the other angle, but and he gives his decision right there in the front. But when people are not convinced, they go to the third umpire, and what does third umpire do? The third umpire is trying to analyze the same situation, but from a distance. He's able to replay those things in a different way, and when he's able to replay the same situation in a different way, he decides that the person is not out. This is called non-judgmental awareness. What happens when we view a situation from a distance? This brings two different aspects very beautifully. One, we become aware of the story that I am telling myself. The third umpire understands, oh, he must have seen this particular thing. That is why he decided. And it is based on the limited number of facts. But he also becomes aware of the actual facts of the situation when he's analyzing the situation from a distance. And that is what is called non-judgmental awareness. A emotional judgmental reaction will never be correct, but when we practice non-judgmental awareness, seeing and analyzing the situation from a distance, it becomes fact oriented, it becomes unbiased. It is like true introspection. It listens and accepts, and it is must in all leadership skills. Very, very, very important to have emotional stability. Look and analyze the situation, analyze the way people are behavior. Children would come if they had done something wrong. Don't get immediately angry. Listen to the situation, why they have done one particular thing. Take control over your emotions. Be like a non-judgmental person, and when you analyze and understand both these situations, your decision will invariably always be perfect. Very, very correct. So we must practice non-judgmental awareness. This is in Hindi called Sakshi Drishta. And this is one of the most powerful tools to inculcate emotional stability in our own lives. The second last thing that I would like to highlight in front of you to have that emotional stability in present times is to practice emotional hygiene. Now, in present times, while we all practice and do away with negative things, with we are using sanitizers, we are washing our hands, we are using face masks to keep all the organisms and the virus away from us. But my question to you is, do we get time to reflect on the negative emotions of our life also? Look at these most important negative emotions. Look at this. The emotions are anger, irritation, hatred, jealousy, competition, criticism, complaint, and expectations. How many times do we use these words in our life? It's natural to be angry. Oh, irritation, so natural. He keeps on doing this thing, and I get irritated. Hatred and jealousy are repeatedly seen in my personal and professional life. I expect out of you that you should be doing this. If any one of this is present in any amount in our mind, then my dear friends, we must understand that we are emotionally unstable human beings. Look at your own mind. Today we are all carrying a burden on our mind, not a physical burden. The burden is of other people and their situation. I ask you one very simple question, that if somebody is doing something bad to you, somebody is really hurting you at this time, maybe a person or a situation, we are unable to speak at that particular time, but we give space to that person in our own mind. उस व्यक्ति की उस बात को हम अपने मन में जगह दे देते हैं. And when 5 years later, the same person we meet, what happens? We are again generating the same emotional reactions. The reason for that is we had remembered that particular situation that that person created for us 5 years back, and given that situation a place in our own mind. Now, my question to you is that if we give space to one negative situation in one day to our mind, 365 days, 365 people not behaving properly, we give space to 365 negative situations in our mind. And if we practice this for 10 years, 3,650 negative emotions, what will happen to our mind? Our mind becomes a dustbin, and that is what is happening to our minds today. When we all communicate in our lives, we try to communicate with language. We are taught to communicate with language. But today I must tell you that we can be very sweet to each other while understanding that our vibrations may be diagonally opposite to what we are speaking. Language is designed to hide feelings. When we talk with love and purity, if our vibrations are also of love and purity, we don't need even language to communicate with each other. Look at your own examples, your own life. Sometimes when the atmosphere is not very good, it's very turbulent, and some person with a lot of positive vibrations, a very happy individual, comes to your home. What happens to the environment? It completely transforms. He brings those positive vibrations along with him, and the environment changes into a beautiful positive environment. Similarly, when a person environment is very good and a person who is very depressed, negative, always pessimistic, he enters your home, he starts discussing negative things. What happens? The vibrations changes those environments. So it is pertinent and important for all of us to maintain emotional hygiene by distancing and cleaning our mind from all those negative emotions. I ask you, it is natural for us to be angry or to be loving. It's natural for us to love each other. It's natural for us not to create hatred and jealousy. It's natural for us to accept and be compassionate to each other, to understand each other. If we want three qualities to have emotional stability and healthy relations, those things are appreciation, acceptance, and approving each other. We don't need anything else. It's only a question of how beautifully we accept each other. The other person, when he behaves in a different way, we must understand he is not wrong, but he is different. That word, that understanding by our mind that the person and the people in this world are not wrong, but they are different, gives me peace, love, and solace in my life. That is where our emotional stability automatically comes. Today, we are continuously talking about emotional stability, but we are continuously playing with these negative emotions. Using these words, it's natural to be angry. It's natural to get irritated off and on. How can something negative be natural in our lives? It's impossible. We use this word natural because we have used these negative emotions repeatedly, and that is what yields us a negative personality. When we create a negative behavior for some time, it gives us a negative mood for a week or so. When we use those negative behavior repeatedly, it gives us a negative temperament that can carry on for a few months. But when we use those negative temperament repeatedly, that is what gives us a negative personality, and that is when we say anger is natural. My dear friends, today in these turbulent times, we must understand. We must hold hand and not grudges. We must learn to love each other, to accept each other, to be compassionate, to be understanding, to be appreciable and adaptable to all the behaviors. And last thing that I would like to highlight in front of you is practice meditation. While we all get wonderful theoretical knowledge, meditation is one of the most beautiful quarantine tools. When we find ourselves locked up in our own home, spiritual quarantine is a conscious choice that we all create to empower our own souls. Empower our own souls. Remember this. Look at this. Gita ji, just see. Any one of you, can you read it comfortably or you are finding it difficult to read?
We
Any
can
one of
read
you.
it.
Just can you read it easily or comfortably? Is this more easily readable or this is more easily readable? Tell me. This one or this one? Which one can you read more comfortably? This one
Second
or
one.
this one?
Yes,
The
Second
second
this
one.
one.
one, second one.
Why? Why can you read this one more comfortably when the content of both of them is exactly same? What is the reason between this and this?
Spaces between the words.
Very nice. Now you can mute yourself. That is what is the crux of meditation. Meditation is about giving space to your thoughts and mind. Today we are continuously thinking. Meditation makes our thinking slow, better, and more powerful. It makes our thinking slow, And the person who thinks slowly thinks more beautifully and more powerfully, because he's able to stand back, observe, and steer his thoughts very, very comfortably. We are able to reconnect in a much better way with our own selves. And I'll tell you why it is very, very important to practice meditation, because each one of us are working with our emotional logical brain. Look at this. We say we are all karma yogis. We are decisive, we are accurate, we are analytical, we are logical, we are strategic, or we often say we are practical and reasonable. This is right. This gives us 50% emotional control over our lives. But if we want to have a complete control, we need our right brain, which is a poetic brain, which is a passionate, loving, peaceful, and a creative brain. My dear friends, the emotional stability is a consequence of harmony between both the brains, and meditation is one of the most powerful tools that harmonizes left brain with right brain. Look at this experiment. A normal person like you and me and all of us, the kind of brainwave pattern is totally unbalanced. This unbalanced brainwave pattern brings anxiety and depression. But only 15 minutes of meditation, you see what happens to our brain. Both the brain, the left brain and the right brain, they start getting synchronized. And it takes only 25 minutes to complete this whole synchronization. It's more integrated, better mental and emotional stability in our life. My dear friends, I would like to say that the innate qualities of our soul is to be peaceful, loving, happy, power, and knowledgeful. Let us experience and inculcate those innate qualities and experience meditation to empower our own selves. This is what is the key of emotional stability. So in the end, I would just take you on few seconds of journey. Just go and come along with me, where we would empower our own selves and experience this power, that how beautifully we can actually nurture our own mind and create that emotional stability. Sit back and relax. Just observe your thoughts. With every thought, I become more and more aware of what is going on in my mind. Look at the kind of thoughts that come: anger, irritation, expectations out of others. This is not my natural self. I am a peaceful soul. Experience the powerful vibrations of peace bathing your mind, cleaning all the anger in your mind. It's all fading away, and I am becoming more and more peaceful and aware of every thought. I am a loving soul. Experience the vibrations of love empowering your mind. I love every person, irrespective of their behavior. Love and peace are my conscious choice. as I choose to create love, peace, and happiness, I create a powerful aura of protection around me. I experience and stay in this peace and blissful stage throughout. This is me, a very happy and an emotionally stable person, where no negative thing, emotion can influence me. I have the power, I have the control. Om Shanti, Om Shanti. So this is it. So simple tools, that we have to use can completely transform our life. And actually, we can design our lives by our own thoughts. And that is what is the key. That is what is the beauty of our own self. So if there are any questions, comments, or anything that you would like to share, I would be happy to answer.
Sir, actually there are many questions, and all the people, they really enjoyed this session. If I would say, webinar are these days equal to cognitive load, but I think you not only reduce cognitive load, you also reduce the pressure load from heart, soul. So I think it was a journey of understanding our emotions, and then through very, very relevant examples and stories from our own lives. And I think this brought realizations as well as inspirations to change our attitude towards problems and issues. And sir, the mantra which you have given of emotional detoxing and even practicing emotional hygiene, I think this is definitely going to make our life better, and it is going to enhance the quality of life, sir. Let me take this opportunity to request Dr. Sanjay Srivastava, sir, I request him to ask his questions if there is any. So shall I request you to hello? Sir, shall I
Thank you
request
so
you
much.
to stop sharing your screen? Yes.
Yeah, you can do that. You can take my control. How do I do that? Yeah, just a minute.
Yeah, I did it.
Thank you so much, Mohiji. It was a pure bliss to listen to you. And in fact, I have taken a lot of points for my own notes. And that is fantastic, the way you have presented. And way back, I have written that we have a concept in psychology, especially when we teach reaction time, irreducible minimum reducible margin. Okay, and there is a stimulus and response, and there is a gap. So I often used to say that we live in a choiceless world, but life and leadership is nothing but the matter of choices. So between stimulus and response, there is a small gap, which you said a small pause. There lies our freedom to choose whether to become a master or a slave of the situation. Thank you so much for adding immense value. It was a pure treat, and thank you so much, Geeta ji, for giving me this space and pause to convey my gratitude to you. Over to Geeta ji and Bhatt sir.
Hello, can I request Bhatt sir to ask his question?
You can unmute
Sir, your
yourself, sir.
voice. Unmute yourself, please. Just. I sent you the request.
Hello?
Yeah, please, sir. Yeah, please, sir.
Yes, sir. You're
It is not a question, in fact, just it was really a pleasure and wonderful experience to listen to you. And about 7-8 years back, I had been to these sessions, in fact. I attended a few sessions, in fact. And it is really wonderful to look at things. The way you started talking about the COVID situation which it has created, the uncertainties which it has created, the turmoil in everybody's mind. But things are settling down and people have started realizing that one needs to take control of oneself. And unless we do that, the chaotic situations will continue. It is only when we try to control our emotions, whatever situation it is, the situations will be there. There will be always disturbances in our life. Life is meant for these ups and downs, but the way we respond to these things will become very, very important. Everybody is in a present day situation, especially what you rightly said, looking at these very important technological gadgets which we use day in and day out, yet they do create a lot of stress. I do take care of it that I do not normally use it in the morning time or during the daytime also. Minimum I use it. In the evening, I know that it does create situations which are not very nice, conducive. Sometimes we have to work in late and these gadgets have to be used, and I'll try to see that I use them to the minimum possible in the future also. Yes, this is true that every one of us need to take care of the processor which you talked about. And unless we take care of this processor, we will not be in a position to control because it is our behavior, our belief, which ultimately results in how we think and how we act actually. And this is where we need to take care of it. And this situation, as you rightly said, in every situation, in a difficult situation, there is an opportunity to prove yourself that you have the capacity to do it. Let us not be swayed by the reaction of others. Let us have our processor in our control, which can ultimately lead to something good also. Now, during this period of crisis, we have seen that there have been many people who have come up with new innovative ideas. I'm looking at the technological part of it. Ventilators were not produced in India, and there are now so many companies which are doing it. There were no PPEs manufactured in India. People have started doing it. And similarly, there are many things which people have started doing, and which is a very positive sign for the whole system actually. And things are being done. People have become more religious. I would say. I will not say religious. I would say more spiritual during this period. They have tried to understand that by remaining in bed, it is not really good. It is better to control ourselves, have that emotional stability, what you talked about, which is very, very important. Have understanding of others, they might be irrational, they might be illogical, yet it should not affect us. We need to give that pass, what you rightly said. And yes, uh, this is one of the way of handling ourselves and remaining peaceful, which is the basic nature of our soul actually, which is very, very important. And it is only through that remaining peaceful, remaining, which can give us happiness, which can give us that bliss, which can give us the shakti to, in fact, take care of it actually. Because let me thank you again for taking us through this journey, and it was really wonderful to listen to you. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
Shall I take one or two questions from the audience as well?
Please,
So,
please.
so there is one, yeah. So there is one question from Dhruva Rathod. He is asking why technology is so powerful that it affects our life, though it's not related to balancing, but he is asking emotional balancing and all. But definitely he wanted to know that.
It's a question of what kind of space you allow technology to take into your life. Right? You should always ask one thing that I always do to myself every morning. Am I the master or my mobile? That's all.
True,
If you are the
true.
master, then you are taking control of. The more you allow it to take control, the more you get addicted to it will start taking a serious toll on your health. And someday we will discuss. There's a very beautiful session on digital detoxification. You would be surprised that the digital addicts, when their MRI brain patterns are studied, they are same as those people who are opium addicts. Absolutely same. This is revealing, surprising, and shocking. So we must understand that technology takes a space only because you are allowing it to you. The more space you give, it will come on, but you have to restrict somewhere. Do it for one day. I don't say you guys do from today night till tomorrow night. Just practice one day digital detox 60-40-60 and tell me what is the happiness index that is there between one difference between first day and the second day. It will be immense. So it's your own conscious choice. Technology will not enter. You are the master, you are the creator of technology. Now it doesn't have the power to enter unless you allow it to enter. Okay.
Very, very, very true, sir. Very true, sir. Next question is by Miss Achila Pahava. She is asking, sir, how can we control our mind not to wander and focus on task at hand?
See, the word that you said is to control your mind. Is it possible to control a little kid? It is never possible to control a little kid. You can never control a little kid. Mind is like a little kid. The best way to control your mind is to make your mind your best friend. Do you observe what slide did I show you? I showed you make your mind your best friend. If you tell mind not to do this thing, it will 100% do the same thing. It's a natural property. So once you explain it to your mind, this is what you are saying is perfectly fine, but this is the time that I would like and appreciate that you focus on this particular task. It will automatically fall in place. And it's a question of repetitive behavior. Like when you sit in meditation or you're focusing on something, only at that time you will realize that every other task will come and strike your mind. Everything will come. Now mobile phone is coming, he has to come, I have to do this, I have to do, everything will come on that particular time. Now if you start fighting, you will neither end up, you're wasting your 30 years will be gone. So Almighty says very beautiful that explain it to your mind that we will do every task perfectly, but this is the time I need to rejuvenate myself. This is the time I need to focus. And that is why there is a beautiful saying, you must note it in your life. Always note it in your life that wherever your attention goes, your energy flows. And wherever your energy flows, your life grows. So take care of your attention where it is going, wherever it is going. Focus on and on that particular attention, your energy and mind will automatically start falling in place. So treat your mind with a lot of love and respect. Don't treat it like an alien. It will always turn rebellious. बच्चों को अगर खाना खिलाना होता है ना तो उन्हें पहले झुंझुना दे देंगे या कोई कार्टून दिखा देंगे और उसके बाद वो बैठ के सब कुछ खा लेंगे. This is how your mind is. Make it sit comfortably. Oh, this is fine. I will take care of this thing also, but first do this particular.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much. I think this particular answer was answers of many similar questions, and I'm sure the audience
My
got the.
message to
Yeah.
you is only two things. In the end, I would just summarize because you are also
Yeah.
getting late. Very
एकदम
simple is
original चले
just
जाओ, कोई दिक्कत
the first thing is remember,
नहीं.
change the way you look at things. Don't see the
करो करो करो.
situations as you
दीदी कह
are.
रही तो करो.
Don't see the situations as you are. See the situations as they are. That's the first message. That is why the perspective is going to change everything. Second, be positive. Make your mind your best friend. Use the power of positive thinking. That is going to create miracles. Practice that emotional consuming that healthy diet, positive thoughts, positive news, talking about positive things, forward positive things rather than consuming continuously negative things. And the fourth thing is very important: use positive emotions. The emotional connection is very, very important in a relation. Very, very important. The vibrations at work, create those positive vibrations, and you see the whole environment will get transformed.
Yes, so thank you so much. I just for the audience, I want to share that we have amongst us Professor Dr. I.K. Bhatt, who is Vice Chancellor of Manurachna University and who is an accomplished academician who has been the champion or institution leader. And he has to his credit the distinction of establishing and heading 4 NITs, Hamirpur, Jaipur, Delhi, and Jalandhar, and even IIT Kota. I think for any academic leader, it is a dream to head IIT and NIT. And Bhatt sir is an iconic academic leader to head 5 top technical institution, which must be a record of the of some sort. Dr. Bhatt has enviable pedigree that he is graduate of NIT Srinagar and done his MTech and PhD from prestigious IIT Kanpur. He is committed teacher, prolific researcher, and eloquent speaker on technology and education. He has contributed immensely in shaping the higher education in the country by serving on several committees of government and leading institutions. For example, just to name a few bodies, he served Central Advisory Board of Education, then All India Council for Teacher Education, NBA, and etc. Credit. Professor Bhatt has been awarded for academic achievements as Dr. Zakir Hussain Award for Outstanding Contribution to Technical Education and several Outstanding Contribution Award in the area of technical education. He was Ambassador of Telecom Sector Council, India awarded in 2016. We are honored indeed to have Bhatt sir amongst us. I request Dr. Bhatt sir to make his concluding remarks.
I have already made those remarks actually. Let me say that it was a wonderful session. You have taken us on a journey that it is ultimately a thought process which becomes very, very important, and how we think will become will ultimately lead us to a particular attitude. And when this attitude is repeated several times, it becomes our belief also. And this belief will will shape our action actually. And this action will ultimately culminate in the culture, the habits which we have, and will develop our personality and the relationship with others. Now, with this flow, in fact, what you have talked about, in fact, you have tried to touch each and every aspect of it. I'm sure that people must have been really motivated, inspired by the words which you have said. And I'm sure that it has given them enough food for thought to look at how do we control our responses so that our thought process are in the positive direction, and we develop a system which is full of love, full of care, full of compassion, full of empathy. And if we are in a position to do it, care about others, I am sure that we will be in a position to take care of COVID. COVID is a very small thing then, but we'll be in a position to take care of each and every member of this society and will help us in taking our country forward. I'm very thankful to Dr. Mohit, in fact, who took us on this journey of this emotional aspects of this pandemic, and then how we can deal with it. It has been really wonderful. I thank him, and I thank my co-brother Sanjay Srivastavji, Deepa, Geeta, Sangeeta, all of them who manage this show, and all the participants who have been there, who have participated and listened to the nice and inspiring words of Dr. Mohit. I thank you once again and hope that it will take us, we'll have some more meetings with Dr. Mohit who can help us in understanding many other aspects of life besides this COVID. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you. I'm in a webinar. I'll call you back.
Okay, thank you.